Have you ever felt that despite your biggest dreams and wildest ambitions, there's an invisible force keeping you stuck in the same place? It's as if the life you've imagined, full of success, excitement, and endless opportunity, remains just out of reach. You're not alone in this struggle, and the truth is, the challenge isn't a personal failing but a natural force that governs both the physical world and our inner lives. Inertia. In physics, inertia is the tendency for an object at rest to stay at rest and for an object in motion to continue moving until acted upon by another force. In our daily lives, this same principle can be felt in the form of procrastination, the reluctance to start, the delay of action, and the all too familiar cycle of inaction that turns potential into regret. Today, we're going to explore how this hidden force works and, more importantly, how you can harness a few simple strategies to break free and set your dreams in motion. There's something almost deceptive about procrastination. It doesn't always shout at you with loud, self-critical thoughts. Instead, it whispers promises of rest, relaxation, and the comfort of doing nothing. The trap is subtle. You know exactly what needs to be done, and yet the thought of starting feels like an insurmountable mountain. Each postponed task, each delay in action seems harmless in the moment. But over days, weeks, and months, these moments accumulate, building a barrier that feels more and more like a part of your identity. Research shows that chronic procrastination not only chips away at your productivity, but also triggers a cycle of guilt and self-doubt, making it increasingly difficult to take that first crucial step. It's not laziness in the traditional sense. It's a powerful, almost physical resistance that mirrors the natural laws governing the universe. Consider the cost of this inaction. Every time you put off an important project or delay a decision that could change the trajectory of your life, you're not just wasting time. You're slowly dimming the bright light of your potential. There's a hidden price tag attached to every moment spent in hesitation, a toll paid in missed opportunities, growing stress, and the relentless weight of what might have been. Psychological studies have linked habitual procrastination with higher levels of anxiety and even depression, suggesting that the longer you wait, the more the cycle tightens its grip. Imagine a life where the dream job, that exciting project, or the meaningful relationship you long for is constantly postponed by the internal force that keeps you firmly rooted in inaction. It's a self-perpetuating cycle where the fear of failure or the daunting scale of your goals only deepens the inertia that holds you back. So what is it about inertia that makes starting so hard? In the realm of physics, an object at rest resists change because it lacks momentum. A force must be applied to shift its state. This isn't just a quirk of nature, it's a metaphor for our own behavior. When you're faced with a daunting task, your mind instinctively gravitates towards the comfort of the status quo. The energy required to overcome that initial state of rest feels disproportionately large compared to the task itself. It's like standing at the edge of a swimming pool on a scorching day. The water looks inviting, but the first step in can feel like a shock to the system. That initial push is daunting because your brain is wired to avoid discomfort. The result is a cycle of delay. The task remains untouched, and the inertia only grows stronger with each passing moment. But what if there was a way to break that cycle? An approach that turns the overwhelming force of inertia into a series of manageable, almost effortless steps. Enter the magic of micro-actions. Instead of focusing on the monumental task in front of you, break it down into the tiniest possible steps. If the idea of writing a 5,000-word essay paralyzes you, commit to writing just 50 words. If cleaning your entire room feels overwhelming, decide to tidy up one small area for just 2 minutes. These micro-actions are not about reducing your ambitions. They're about lowering the barrier to entry. By reframing the task into a series of small, achievable steps, you reduce the mental resistance that feeds procrastination. And here's the fascinating part. Once you take that initial modest step, momentum often builds on its own. The act of starting, even in a minimal way, can create a ripple effect that carries you forward, transforming hesitation into action. Think of it like pushing a heavy boulder. At first, the boulder barely budges under your force, but once you manage to get it rolling, gravity and momentum take over, and the boulder gathers speed with each passing moment. This is the same principle at work in your daily life. Every tiny win, every small step forward, chips away at the formidable wall of inertia that once seemed impossible to overcome. Well, it's not about a sudden, dramatic leap toward success. It's about creating a chain reaction of progress, where each small action builds on the previous one. Over time, those micro-actions accumulate into significant momentum, propelling you toward your larger goals with a force you once thought unattainable. Of course, building momentum isn't just a mechanical process. It requires a shift in your mindset. Many of us have internalized the label of lazy or unmotivated, especially after months of struggling against procrastination. This negative self-image can be as paralyzing as the inertia itself, creating a vicious cycle where every delay reinforces the belief that you're not capable of change. The first step to breaking this cycle is to reframe your internal dialogue. Instead of chastising yourself for every moment of inaction, recognize that each hesitation is simply a sign that you're on the brink of change. Embrace a compassionate, encouraging inner voice, one that celebrates the small victories and understands that progress is rarely linear. Remind yourself that every monumental journey begins with a series of humble, imperfect steps. By shifting your perspective, you can transform self-criticism into a supportive force that nurtures your growth rather than stifles it. Armed with this new mindset, you can now move on to practical strategies that reinforce these insights and help you conquer procrastination for good. Start by setting clear, realistic goals that are broken down into bite-sized tasks. Whether it's a creative project, a fitness regimen, or a personal hobby, define what you want to achieve and then dissect it into steps that feel almost trivial. For instance, if you've been meaning to launch a new business, start by writing a single paragraph outlining your idea. Create a schedule that prioritizes focused bursts of activity, perhaps using techniques like time blocking or the Pomodoro method, to maintain a steady pace of progress without feeling overwhelmed. And if you ever find yourself hesitating, try employing the 2-minute rule. Commit to the task for just 2 minutes, and let that brief period be your catalyst. More often than not, once you've started, you'll find it easier to continue as your mind shifts from resistance to engagement. Another powerful strategy is to create an environment that minimizes distractions and supports your new habits. The modern world is filled with endless sources of cheap dopamine, from social media feeds to endless streaming content, each one a tempting distraction that reinforces the inertia of inaction. Designate a specific workspace where you can focus on your goals without interruption. This might mean turning off notifications, setting aside a particular corner of your home, or even partnering with a friend who can hold you accountable. Over time, this structured approach will help rewire your brain, turning the act of starting into a habit rather than a battle. With each small victory, you build not just momentum, but also a sense of confidence that you can overcome the forces holding you back. The beauty of these micro actions and mindset shifts is that they apply to every area of your life. Whether it's pursuing a passion project, working on your career, or nurturing your relationships, the principle remains the same. The journey of 1,000 miles truly begins with a single, deliberate step. Imagine the possibilities when you no longer allow inertia to dictate your actions. Instead of postponing your dreams to a nebulous someday, you transform each day into an opportunity for progress. The simple act of starting, no matter how small, becomes a powerful declaration that you refuse to be defined by inaction. It's a reminder that every moment counts and that even the tiniest steps can lead to monumental change. Yet, the path to sustained change isn't always smooth. There will be days when the old patterns creep back in, the urge to procrastinate, the familiar pull of inertia, and the weight of self-doubt. When these moments arise, remember that setbacks are not failures, but part of the process. Each stumble is an opportunity to learn more about what triggers your resistance and how you can adjust your approach. Reflect on your progress and celebrate every victory, however small. Over time, you'll notice a gradual shift. The internal dialogue that once whispered, "I can't," will start to echo with determination and possibility. With patience and persistence, the cycle of procrastination will begin to lose its hold, replaced by a rhythm of action that propels you steadily forward. In embracing this journey, you may also find it helpful to seek inspiration from others who have faced similar challenges. Look to stories of individuals who transformed their lives by taking that first small step. A writer who published a novel by committing to writing just a few pages a day, an entrepreneur who built a thriving business by starting with a modest idea, or an athlete who achieved greatness by focusing on incremental improvements. These narratives remind us that greatness isn't achieved overnight. It's the result of countless small actions that, when compounded, create a force unstoppable in its momentum. Their successes underscore a universal truth: that the power to change your life lies not in grand gestures, but in the courage to begin. Ultimately, overcoming procrastination is about reclaiming control over your time, your energy, and your destiny. It's about recognizing that the forces of inertia are not insurmountable barriers, but challenges that can be met with creativity, discipline, and a commitment to growth. Every day offers a fresh chance to rewrite your story, to turn hesitation into action, doubt into determination, and inaction into progress. As you learn to harness the power of microactions and reshape your mindset, you begin to unlock a reservoir of potential that has been waiting patiently beneath the surface. Now is the moment to challenge the status quo. Instead of accepting that your dreams are destined to remain on the sidelines, embrace the idea that every journey starts with a simple, deliberate step forward. Picture yourself a few months from now, looking back at today as the day everything changed. A day when you decided that the quiet voice of procrastination would no longer dictate your future. The path ahead may be long and occasionally fraught with obstacles, but it's also paved with the promise of growth, achievement, and a life lived on your own terms. So ask yourself, what is the smallest action you can take right now to start bridging the gap between your current reality and the life you've always imagined? It might be as simple as writing down one goal, spending 2 minutes organizing your thoughts, or sending that long overdue email. Whatever it is, take that step. Allow it to be the spark that sets off a chain reaction, propelling you into a future where your potential is fully realized. Remember, every great accomplishment began with the courage to move even when the journey ahead seemed daunting. In the end, the power to transform your life lies within you. By understanding the true nature of procrastination, embracing the science of inertia, and committing to a series of small yet meaningful actions, you can break free from the cycle of delay and step confidently into a future of endless possibility. Today is not just another day to put off your dreams. It's the day you decide to take that first, seemingly insignificant step that will forever alter the course of your life. Let this be your wake-up call. The time to act is now, and every tiny action you take builds the momentum that will carry you toward the success you deserve. Embrace the challenge, defy the inertia, and let your journey begin. Every moment counts, and every small step is a victory. The transformation you seek isn't a distant dream. It's waiting to be unlocked, one action at a time. Now step forward and ignite the spark that will light the way to your extraordinary future.